largest and most heavily populated continent on our globe is Asia. Most of its land area is barren and dry. And yet there is one tiny rain-soaked corner here where the land is forever green. This is the little kingdom of Siam, or Thailand. All around Siam, a solid wall of mountains hides it from the rest of the world. Each monsoon season, this mountain barrier traps the rain clouds. And from April to October, a daily torrent falls on Siam. It's on the crest of the flood that our story begins. For this is the story of a people who, from childhood, have learned to accept the flood as part of their daily lives. To them, a cloudburst means no more than a spring shower. Business goes on as usual. And since everyone's in the same boat, there's always room for one more. Well, almost always. With the high waters come all kinds of fish. And so everybody and his dog go fishing. And just as often as not, the old fishing hole is the front porch. The type of fishing tackle is limited only to the imagination. For the angler, there's no age limit. For the fish, no size limit. But far more important than fish is the silt brought by these muddy waters to enrich the land from which rice will grow. Here's a field hand that no other animal or machine could replace, the buffalo. He has only one weakness, his skin. It's extremely sensitive to the rays of the tropic sun, and his only protection from sunstroke is water. And so this isn't a matter of being clean at all, just very, very comfortable. This is a rice polishing machine. And of course, wherever you find machines at work, you find the inevitable sidewalk superintendent. This time it's the gibbon, a favorite pet in Siam. But with machinery, accidents can happen. Could these two be guilty of wishful thinking? Perhaps of chicken a la king, smothered in rice? The Siamese people eat twice their weight in rice each year. And to them, rice is a personal thing. This attachment to rice and the growing of the grain begins at an early age. Usually, the young farmers take to the job with enthusiasm. But sooner or later, they discover it's just plain work. Quite often, women take over the job of transplanting the seedlings to the larger paddies. One would think that dishpan hands might be a common complaint here, but that's not so. For these are the same girls and the same nimble fingers that planted the rice. Their artificial fingernails represent lighted candles. This nail dance will be part of a religious celebration known as the Katin. a tin is actually a benefit held for the temple and the priest. All kinds of gifts are given, including money. In fact, this is the beginning of a money tree. But where's the money? Well, as usual, the women handle that department. Since beauty is very important in the Buddhist faith, the money will be fashioned into flowers. The blossoms are fastened together with the sticky juice of the natom fruit, nature's original glue pot. And so, in Siam, money almost does grow on trees. When the money tree is carried to the temple grounds, it marks the climax of the ceremonies. In Siam, Buddhism reaches into the life of almost every inhabitant, and each male is expected to spend at least 3 months of his life in the priesthood. During this period, his yellow robe of humility and his offering bowl are his only personal possessions. In the morning, the priests go out to receive food prepared especially for them. Each afternoon, the priests retire to the solitude of their temples. Here they meditate and study the teachings of Buddha. Temples are guarded from evil spirits by these yaks. They represent characters from ancient Siamese mythology. In contrast to these grotesque statues, there's the living beauty of the Siamese dancers. They devote their entire lives to perfecting these dramas in pantomime. The story being told here describes an exquisitely beautiful experience, a visit to the God of heaven. In Siam, as elsewhere, culture takes many different forms. There is, for example, physical culture, the fine art of fisticuffs. And in the Siamese version, clever footwork is 90% of the battle. Before each bout, the contestants pay homage to the spirits of the prize ring. Then they offer a short preview of the strategy they'll use against their opponents. No self-respecting fighter would think of performing without an orchestra. This is guaranteed to bring out the worst in most anyone. The referee's instructions are confined to one simple rule: no biting. survivor receives a bouquet of flowers. In Siam, everything has the touch of beauty, including the umbrellas. And here, everyone must have an umbrella. To meet the demand, the Siamese long ago invented the assembly line system. This is the parchment department. Here, chips of wood are hammered into pulp. But it's in the paint department that the peak of industrial efficiency is reached. 2 or 3 colors on the same brush. Shortcuts like this, one day's production is measured by the acre. But when it comes to heavy industry in Siam, and who literally carries the load. Here in the jungle teak camps, the elephant is known as Chang. This little fellow is only 8 hours old. Still, that's quite old enough to be hungry. Trunk will come in handy later on, but right now he'd be better off with a pug nose. Lek, the little one, will soon become the spoiled pet of the teak camp, where every day is circus day. But unlike circus elephants, Lek doesn't work for peanuts. He holds out for bananas. For the next few years, Lek will lead a carefree life. But for this 5-year-old, play days are over. From now on, every day's a school day until he's 18 years old. Each elephant has a permanent mahout, or driver, often a lifetime partnership, for both have about the same lifespan. Occasionally, an elephant will prefer to work alone. He instinctively finds the perfect balance of a teak log weighing several tons. This wood, in its green state, is so heavy it won't even float. The elephant can understand up to 60 words, so the mahout is careful not to say anything insulting. Instead, he smothers Chang with flattery. And with typical Siamese hospitality, shares his rice lunch with him. A machine this size needs considerable fuel, nearly a ton a day. It would take a long time to fill him up at this rate, but fortunately, elephant fuel literally grows on trees. And for that matter, so do the toothpicks. Chang has an ideal working day. 2 hours on the job and 8 hours for lunch. This includes a refreshing bubble bath. But when Chang does work, he's a symphony of power. northern camps, the logs will drift some 600 miles, a journey which may take up to 8 years, depending on the whims of the river. But time and the irresistible current will eventually bring them to their destination, the capital city of Bangkok. Here near the sea, most of Siam's rivers converge. All this water would engulf the city if it weren't controlled by a network of canals called klongs. This maze of waterways makes Bangkok the Venice of the Orient. Outskirts of the city, a typical family lives in this snug teakwood sampan. The sampan is more than a home. It's also a livelihood. The owner's name is Sala. He's both merchant and captain, buying produce from the jungle farms and selling it in the city. In this way, Sala supports himself, his wife Sawai, and their small son, Pak. Nark, the Siamese cat, serves as a deckhand. On the Klong, floating markets give a boat wife certain advantages over a housewife. For Sawai doesn't have to go to the store comes to her. She's decided to cook curry today, so she selects a store with a complete pepper department. Of course, there's the usual candy counter to torture small boys. This kitchen is so small, it permits Sawai to sit down while she prepares the entire meal. She begins by grating a coconut to supply cream for the curry. As usual, forms the basis for this typical Siamese meal. Here, cleanliness is an obsession, and before lunch, everything receives a scrubbing, including the menfolk. Unlike most little boys, Pak enjoys washing up. It's just like going swimming, except, of course, for that fiendish commodity, soap. Siamese curry requires a bewildering amount of condiments. A dash of garlic, a pinch of pepper, mixed with green chili, red chili, paste chili, white pepper, black pepper, and red pepper. This fiery concoction is mixed with coconut cream to prevent the danger of internal combustion. A tantalizing aroma drifts through the sampan. And this is too much for Nark. He sneaks a snack. And Mother never worries about Pak's whereabouts, due to a Siamese safety measure called leg bells. Here's a case where little boys should be heard, especially when they're not seen. The meal is prepared, except for one last touch. More peppers. In Siamese etiquette, dress for dinner is, in a way, semi-formal, for the men here nearly always wear tails, neatly tucked in. When one dines aboard a sampan, it's perfectly proper to sit on the table. And since everything's in reach, it's only logical to reach. But it isn't good manners. Although fingers serve as silverware, few knives and forks are washed as often. Occasionally, there's a guest aboard. His name is Poe. And like all polite guests, he compliments Sawai on her cooking. And like all gracious ladies, she insists it's nothing, just a few odds and ends she threw together in a curry. Nark pays the cook a very cat-like compliment by simply concentrating on his food. Puck's compliment may not be as subtle, but no one can doubt its sincerity. But now, the tide has changed. Time to get the little sampan underway. Manned by the members of the family, their floating home moves slowly through the quiet countryside. There's lots to do, and everybody works at something. It's a peaceful journey, and the scenes are forever changing. Occasionally, a home glides by, and from it comes the tranquil music of a bamboo instrument to blend with the rhythm of the oars. And the rhythm of the oars sets the tempo of life on the clouds. The trip is an education. Among other things, he learns that this is a flame tree. And that boats must have eyes to find their way home from strange waters. But probably the nicest thing about traveling is meeting new friends along the way. So much to see, so much to learn. Like how to saw wood and keep cool at the same time. Now, pushing a house around is a pretty big job for a little boy. And Puck needs a rest. He has only the decks of the sampan to play on, but on the other hand, how many boys have a backyard where you can catch a blue prawn? On these water streets, a boat becomes the family car. And if you're blessed with a muddy driveway, well, that's the slickest, quickest way to slide out into the traffic. Of course, every boat garage is equipped with an automatic burglar alarm. Now, here's something you could never do on a paved street. If you like, you can drift into a barber shop for a haircut, but you can't get a shave. Here, whiskers are removed by the she loves me not system. The whole pattern of city traffic is nautical. Instead of buses and taxis, it's boats and barges in Bangkok. But a floating school bus doesn't make going to school any more attractive. With every day a summer day, an old swimming hole on every corner, how can a fella help playing hooky? In fact, keeping cool is everyone's problem. How much activity there is on the Klongs, there's none of the usual traffic noise, no screeching brakes, no clattering wheels, just the ripple of the quiet waters, and in the background, the subtle symphony of the city vendors. If this doesn't give you a headache, here's a floating bar where you can buy one in a bottle. In a quiet backwater, the sampan comes to rest, a peaceful end to another peaceful journey. Bad this idyllic moment can't last forever, but it never fails. Whenever a sailor meets a landlubber, one word leads to another. Wasn't exactly a clean fight, but there's no doubt about who won. Is one native Siamese who resents water, and no one ever needed it more. But it was worth it to bask in the glories of young hero worship. The main watercourse in Bangkok is called the Minam, the Mother of Waters. And here aboard his royal barge, the King of Siam often appears. But on this day, the floating throne is empty. The king is dead. It's a solemn day in Siam. In the city, the golden urn containing the king's earthly remains is borne from his palace to his funeral pyre in the plaza of Bangkok. The king is dead. Long live the king. The following morning, the scene of sorrow changes to one of joy, the coronation of the new king. The palace guard carries the new king around the temple grounds. Here, assembled for his pleasure, are the royal possessions inherited with the crown. Last of all, the royal elephant, Chang, the living symbol of Siam. And yet the real story of Siam lies not in the pomp and circumstance of a coronation, for kings will come and kings will go, and great temples will rise only to crumble into dust. The story of Siam lies in its people. As long as the great rivers rise to overwhelm the land, these people will endure. And the priceless gift of happiness is their reward for living in harmony with the friendly floods of Siam.